Ian, hello.
Hello, how'd you do?
I'm fantastic, apart from a little back trouble, but nothing that can't keep me from being here and having you on the show, which is an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you.
I can foresee, at least.
No, great, yeah, I'm enjoying it already.
Good. That's the whole point of not the whole point, but most of the point. You're not really putting your foot off the touring pedal, are you? Really?
No, we're not. No, we've got a long way to go yet. We started, let's see, at the beginning of March, I think it was, end of February, beginning of March. And we booked already through next March.
Really? I saw November.
Wow. Yeah, it hasn't been announced yet, but we're doing other things up to and including part of next March. Other things we need to do. We need to come back to Europe because there's a lot of places we haven't played because we've been doing festivals, you know. So when you play a festival, sometimes you can't play within so many miles within a certain period of time.
Sure.
So we've got to come back and redo all those places that we missed out, you know. So we're looking forward to that.
So lots of rights management and stuff like that. Like you can't really. There's exclusivity.
Little covenants here and there, you know. And you can't blame the people, you know.
Sure. Businesses are businesses, sure.
Of course. We're planning to get back to America as well. There's a lot of places over there. It's the trouble when you get the album out. Everybody wants you right there and then, you know. So we have to do a few in America, a few in Europe, you know. A bit later on, we're going to get over to Japan. And then maybe Australia, South Africa, you know. It's all got to be sort of fitted in over the next 18 months or so.
And are you quite proud of Firepower? Because you should be.
Yeah, very, very much so. Yeah, it turned out great. As soon as I heard the material, you know, because Richie, Glenn and Rob do the writing, you know, and they'll get all the coherent songs together, put a demo together. And that's where myself and Scott will get a copy of that, you know. So I'll put my bass lines and he puts down his drum patterns and what have you. And as soon as I heard it, I knew it was going to be strong, you know. As soon as I heard it. And of course, we used Tom Allen and Andy Sneap again as a production team. Tom, we know, you know, for years and years. Nobody knows the band better than him. And we took Andy on because he's more up to date with the modern recording techniques and things like that. And they got on really, really well, you know, together with Mike Exeter, who was an excellent engineer. And they did an absolutely tremendous job on. I mean, we just show up and play. You know, they're the ones that make it sound good or bad, you know, in some instances. But they did a great job. They really did, you know.
But the energy is yours, though, and the chemistry, I suppose.
Absolutely right, yeah, absolutely right.
The chemistry, is it one of the best times in Judas Priest ever? Yeah,
we for the first time in a long, long time, we actually played live in the studio together.
It's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, before we did it all to a click track, all one at a time. Now, click tracks they're okay, and everything's very, very accurate. But we ditched the click track this time round, and myself, Richie, and Scott actually went in and played while we were putting the drum tracks down. And Scott's an excellent timekeeper anyway, you know, he doesn't really need a click track. But there's almost little imperceptible rises and falls in the tempo in the different parts of the song. And it just lends sort of a life to it.
I absolutely agree.
It makes it...
Absolutely, so completely.
It's less mechanical, you know, and it just lends itself. It's got a soul and a life, you know. And it sounds more natural. And it was a great idea to do it that way. You know, we thought it was a backward step, you know, when it was when it was mentioned. We haven't done that.
It's going to be lots more work.
But too, yeah. But it worked. It worked a treat. It really did.
Fantastic. Yeah, but it doesn't give, especially in terms of momentum, and there's a general feel of not recording necessarily to a click track, but there's a momentum, especially with the drummers and the bass, that when it's time to go, for instance, to write close to a chorus, then it just moves onward with more strength, like with more power and vigor, I would say.
Yeah,
don't you agree?
You're right. Yeah, you know, it makes a hell of a lot of difference. You know, like I say, you can't tell that the time's changing, but it does, and that's the thing. You know,
and it's best when it's not so formatted, so to speak, because it works for. I was just speaking about this like 2 days ago. It works for electronica, for instance, electronic music, sure. Even though I like my electronic music to be played by humans as well, but in terms of rock and certainly metal and punk, you would punk to a click track. I think is maybe I don't know. It exists. It exists somewhere. I don't know. I haven't explored this, but it certainly is very important. I would say to capture a band's energy.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Yes, you're correct.
But and so are you. There you go. We're both correct.
Yeah. Well.
I guess. But. Okay, stupid question of the day time. Firepower, what would be your ammo of choice in terms of firepower? For instance, heat-seeking missiles, or for instance, I know knives that could be thrown as ammo, or maybe I don't know. I as a non-violent person, I would advise like bits of foam or rubber ducks or something.
Maybe a bazooka.
Firing a bazooka as ammo.
Yeah, or a heavy artillery piece. Yeah.
That's certainly quite destructive.
Oh, that'll do the job. Yeah.
like planes firing bazookas and then bazookas exploding by themselves, or maybe even further.
Yeah.
In like random directions.
Well, you've got to have an aim. You don't want to get blowing things up that you don't mean to. You know?
You could shoot yourself in everyone's foot.
Yeah, but you'll beware your own foot. Yeah,
you're envy of the of others as well.
True.
Lots of feet.
Best avoid that. You see many lawsuits.
Yes, exactly. Possibly not. People would be gone. Like.
Yeah, the families wouldn't.
Yeah. So you're touring with Ozzy. So have you been you're friends with Ozzy?
Yeah, we've known the Sabbath lads for ages. You know,
since the 70s, really.
Yeah, we run into each other all the time. You know, we've done quite a bit of work with Ozzy and Sabbath over the years. I mean, one of the most extensive things we did was 2004. We did the Ozfest in you know, and that was 10 weeks, something like that, you know, which is great. So that you know, and that was a Sabbath run. It wasn't just Ozzy, you know, the Sabbath lads were there as well. And we have a lot of respect for Ozzy and Sabbath. You know, we both go back a long way, really.
And Ozfest, does it have do bands interconnect? I mean, do bands connect? Is it like for a long tour? Is everything very rigid, or as big tours are, or do you get to hang out a little bit with each other?
Yeah, occasionally you get to hang out, you know, but you know, like now, for instance, Ozzy isn't here at the moment, you know, because he's not on till later, and unless you're doing something, sitting around in the dressing room for hours, you know, it can be a bit tedious. But yeah, sometimes you stay at the same hotel. Sometimes you say, oh, you know, somebody's in a bar somewhere, so we're going to have a drink or a restaurant or whatever. Yeah. You sometimes get to mix with the folks, you know, with the folks.
Good. And so, did you ever imagine back? This might be a little trite. I tried not to ask, as you might have noticed. Try not to ask things that everyone else asks. But did you ever think back in the day when you were maybe hanging out and having drinks with the lads, such as Sabbath, for instance, the Sabbath boys? Where maybe 40 years on you would be touring the world with them. It's kind of...
Yeah, I know, it is, isn't it? It's amazing when you think about it. we just didn't think that we'd be going for 50 years near enough, you know. I mean, the concept of some people our age playing popular music just didn't exist back then. I mean, in the late 60s and early 70s, even the old rock and rollers, and you know, even they weren't just about in their 40s, you know. And even Frank Sinatra's and the old crooners before that, they were only in their 50s. You know, so somebody 60, you know, jigging about on stage, he didn't exist. So it's an totally unknown quantity. But yeah, I mean, we love it. We love what we do, you know. So that's why we've kept it going all these years. And as soon as we stop enjoying it, we'll probably stop. There's no point in doing it, you know. But at the moment, we're all loving it, which is great, you know.
Do you feel that with Firepower you've reached a quintessential Judas Priest? Like, is it like a sum of and conclusion, and I mean going forward obviously, but like of what the spirit of Judas Priest is?
Yeah, it's got a bit of everything in it, you know. There's we've always been a versatile band. We've always done the variety, you know, the full spectrum of songs, and Firepower is exactly that, you know. There's the slow ballad, you know, the Sea of Red, and there's the faster songs as well, and the heavier songs, the lighter songs. There's a couple of commercial songs even, you know, that you're not going to scare anybody on the radio. You know, and yeah, it just about sums up the band, you know. It really is a good rounded album, and it's going to be a very hard act to follow next time round.
Sure. You've set yourselves up for it.
Yeah, set a high bar. Yeah.
Nônô over here, which is who is my sister as well, and works with me, and works for Made of Things, which is the name of the show. She's such a fan of Judas Priest that her handle on Instagram is Ripper Knox.
Oh, okay. Very good.
We're just listening to that a few days ago, and she said, oh, no, that's inspired by Judas Priest. Really? Oh, wow. That's fun. This is just an off. It's just trivia. But we were speaking about being friends with Ozzy. Speaking of friends, is everything? This is not that sort of show. I mean, we're not trying to be trying to get a scoop or something, or be what you call it, fofoca, gossipy. We're not gossipy. Yeah. But is everything okay with Ken?
Yeah, everything's all right with Ken.
I read the thing that was at the press conference thing just a few days ago.
Well, I don't know where he was coming from. I think he might have been, like I say, I think he might have been a bit of mischief there, you know.
Just a naughty boy.
If Richie had left, for instance, well, yes, there would have been room for Ken to come back, but it's Glenn that can't do it, you know.
And I was going to ask how Glenn was, but I kind of just saw him, so
yeah,
he seems fine.
He's fine at the moment. Yeah, he's coming out to a lot of the tour with us. He's out at the moment until Barcelona in a couple of days' time, and he's going to get up on stage when he can. You know, when he feels well enough to do it. If Glenn's a meticulous man, and if he feels he can't get up there and give 100%, he won't do it. You know, okay. He doesn't want to let anybody down. So when he can, he'll get up there and do the encores with us, you know, which is great, really. It is a terrible thing. I mean, none of us can imagine what he must be going through, you know. And it isn't as if he's done anything stupid, like he hasn't fell off a boat, you know, or fell off a rock or something like that, or got drunk or whacked himself out on some drug. He hasn't done that. It's his body that's just letting him down, you know, and it's a terrible thing to contemplate, you know.
Sometimes it's just genetics, really. It happens, it's in you.
That's right, yeah, it's there, yeah. And if your number's up, you know, that's what's happened to Glenn. And we all feel for him, you know. We all feel for him. But he's brave. Yeah. If anybody can beat it, he will, because he's a street fighter, if nothing else. And he'll, like I say, he'll get up and he'll play. Who knows? Listen, there's new procedures and new medical things coming out all the time, you know. So that in time they might even be able to reverse it, which would be even better, you know.
It's the trick is to hang on and wait for the trick is to fight. Really, it's just to struggle against it.
Exactly.
Not struggle in the best of ways. I mean,
exactly. And him coming out here with us, you know, he's doing the world a good as well. It's giving him a focus, which is great.
I wasn't really expecting it, but then I saw him, and then oh well, that's pleasant.
Yeah, he was planning to come out on this leg, you know. Like I said, you can't promise anything, you know. But all being well, he'll get up and he'll play some songs.
last thing. The show is called Made of Things, and it doesn't make that much. It makes this. I mean, whatever. The show is called Made of Things, and it's based on the idea that you've dedicated yourself as an artist because something happened to you, or you heard something or read something that made you go, "Oh, I want to do that forever." Even it could be with yourself or someone else. Did you have that? And if so, what was it?
Well, my dad played double bass in dance bands and jazz combos and things like that. So I've got a musical gene in there somewhere anyway, you know. Unfortunately, Dad died when I was 15, so I didn't get much of a tuition. But I think he set me on the path, and I acquired a bass guitar after that. Found it was ultimately easier to play than the old stand-up double bass.
Yeah.
And carried on with that. You know, and of course,
strings.
Yeah, I was listening to other stuff. I was listening to the old blues players, you know, John Mayall and Free and Fleetwood Mac and all that, you know. And I got my influence from all of that, and then just taught myself after that. You know, you learn the parts in the songs, and sooner or later you know what notes you can play in a certain key. And 50 years later, I've almost got it right.
No, you most certainly have. Just out of curiosity, what do you think made this is actually probably a complex question, but from rock and roll, for instance, to Sad Wings of Destiny, there's a big step in terms of what became metal, even though like in the whole spectrum of things, and in the band spectrum of things, was there anything that triggered that? You guys discovered new sounds, maybe?
No, it was just basically trying to improve all the time, you know.
Because it's heavier.
Every time you come to do a new record, you try something new, you know, and we've always done that. And we still try and do it now, you know, even today. And I think it's kept the band fresh and kept us current and relevant. You know, I mean, how many 50-year-old bands are going to get chart positions like we just had with this, you know?
Congratulations, it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you. And that's why we've always tried to take that step forward with each project, you know.
Yes. I think we should wrap it up, maybe, because we got two curtain calls. So. Yeah.
We thought I got a portrait for the website for the. Let me pretend that I'm taller than I am.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for doing this.
No problem. Okay, thank you.
Hopefully,
thank you so much.
Next time.
Yeah, enjoy the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.